6 starts now.
This fire is scary to us. This is something we haven't seen before in the city.
2 dead and thousands of acres burning in Shasta County. The Carr Fire continues to grow in Shasta County, and evacuations are increasing. Residents and firefighters are on edge tonight as extreme winds are expected once again. The winds last night were so strong, trees were ripped from the ground and thrown across the street. Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight at 6 o'clock. I'm Nikki Lorenzo.
And I'm Allie Wolf. Well over 44,000 acres have burned so far, and flames are moving dangerously close to the city of Reading, with nearby neighborhoods reduced to embers.
All right, take a look at this. Here's a look at just how big this is on a map. It started just 5 days ago in the rural Shasta County town of Whiskeytown, and it shows no sign of stopping. According to the Associated Press, 125 homes have been destroyed so far, and thousands more are in its path.
And we're learning more about the devastation caused by this massive fire. It's widespread as firefighters battle the flames. Also, they're mourning the loss of 2 of their own. With heavy hearts, Reading firefighters announced today that a fire inspector, Jeremy Stoke, was killed. He died battling this fire, and a private dozer operator also died while working this fire yesterday. At last check, he has not been identified. And here's more on the numbers. 44,450 acres have burned so far. Containment dropped from yesterday to today. It is now just 3% contained. And as we told you, 2 people have been killed in this fire, the second just this morning. And for more information, you can track the movement of this fire as well as evacuation centers on our website, fox40.com.
We have team coverage for you on the Carr Fire tonight. Chief Meteorologist Christina Warner's in the Weather Center tracking the latest fire conditions. Ken Masenchi at the Cal OES headquarters. That's the command center for all fire emergency operations in the state. But first, we want to start with Fox 40's Doug Johnson live in Reading now with the latest.
Yeah, guys, I'm actually here at Lake Reading. It's a neighborhood in the city. If you take a look behind me, this is as close as members of the public can get to their homes. Many people that live in this area still just unsure what to do at this point. A lot of people waiting in this parking lot trying to figure out if their homes are even still standing or not. And it's really the worst part for them is not knowing.
As firefighters continue to get a handle on the Carr Fire from the air and the ground.
Brush 27, we're sufficient here, we're okay.
Dave and Nikki Nelson just wanted to get back to their home in the Lake Reading neighborhood.
We wanted to empty our refrigerator and our freezer just to get rid of the food, so no matter how long it takes us to get home, our appliances wouldn't be ruined.
But neither were allowed back in.
But we totally understand that they don't want anybody to go in, and so we'll just deal with it.
I'm here on the west shore of the Sacramento River in Reading, where so many had hoped the close proximity to the river may have helped save their homes. But unfortunately, too many are going to be coming home to this, a complete loss. However, Lori Goins stayed behind, doing what she can with her garden hose to ensure her home doesn't burn.
I got to put out these little stump burners, you know.
While her hose may prevent this nearby hillside from burning, it can't stop embers flying through the air.
Who knows what the day will bring? It's still a very fluid situation. The wind can do crazy things, and this thing makes its own weather.
Goins says those embers are what caused so many other homes in her neighborhood to go up in flames.
When you see the rest of the neighborhood, you'll see how unbelievable the damage and the devastation has been. I can hardly even believe it.
But among the destruction, we found life. The goldfish in this pond survived the night, although their house did not. Meanwhile, others are putting their faith in a higher power, strongly believing their prayers to spare their houses will be answered.
I'm Christian. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. And if you don't, you better find out how to get that done.
All right, so I'm sure you've noticed I've been wearing a mask. I want you guys to take a look at our windshield here. You can see just how much ash and soot is in the air. We've only been parked here maybe an hour, and you can see just how much has hit this small little windshield. You can imagine what people here in Reading are having to breathe and having to deal with. Aircraft still flying even at this late hour, although visibility is getting worse by the second. They usually do ground aircraft at night, but they are still flying at this moment. We had some helicopters flying overhead, so a lot of people keeping their fingers crossed they're going to get this fire under control and soon, hopefully, get it out. Reporting live in Reading tonight, Doug Johnson, Fox 40 News.
Doug, thank you. And high voltage transmission towers were also destroyed by the fire. These towers west of Reading melted and were blown over during the Carr Fire. A reporter for the Record Searchlight in Reading took these photos you're seeing right here. He says at least 3 of these towers were destroyed by the flames. And with so many wildfires across California, state emergency officials are working around the clock to help the families who have left their homes and the firefighters on the front lines. We have been here so many times before, from the heartache to the loss of life to the devastation. For the California Office of Emergency Services, every disaster is different and presents a whole set of challenges. Fox 40's Ken Masenchi is live from Cal OES with a look at the response. Ken.
Good evening. You can see behind me the command center is now in that around-the-clock mode. They got into it yesterday. They will be in it for the foreseeable future. We spoke with a firefighter who had just gotten off working the Ferguson fire for the past 2 weeks. He says it's frightening, really, how fast these wildfires are moving, how quickly they have come in what is known as fire season. And he says that even though all of those different things are worrisome to firefighters, this is something they train for in the winter to be able to battle these wildfires when summer comes.
12-hour days that quickly turn into 20-hour days, 100-plus degree temperatures, and embers blowing past fire containment lines. This is the reality of taking on fires like the Carr Fire.
It's tough, and I mean, you know, we brief the troops every morning and every evening and try to give them that pep talk, and we do talk about, you know, you've got to pace yourself, that it's early, we got a long haul.
Bill Bonshu, who just returned to the Governor's Office of Emergency Services after 2 weeks battling the Ferguson fire, says it's unprecedented how wildfires are raging across the state. He says now that fighting fires is a year-round task, worries about fatigue have become as big a concern as the flames.
Cumulatively, you know, over seasons of hard work, takes its toll. Like sometimes our armed forces have symptoms that come from that. We're starting to see in the fire service those same symptoms.
Making sure there are enough resources to help in the battle, as well as for residents who may be evacuated, is the task of the OES, who started 24/7 emergency command Thursday after the Carr Fire began to threaten homes.
We can throw a lot of resources at it. We can send strike teams and do all of the things ahead of time. But when they're up against just almost insurmountable weather conditions, epic dry brush, all of those things that are just difficult even with all the firefighters that you could put on it.
OES says these types of catastrophic disasters have become the new norm, and because each one is unique, it's impossible to devise an emergency plan that works for every situation, though they do learn from past disasters.
If my home was burning and I knew that the folks here were looking through binders that are 20 years old, I would be angry. And we need to be doing whatever is the most adaptive, effective, forward-thinking process to try to deal with a catastrophic disaster. And we know it's not going to be a perfect response, but it can always be better than the last one.
And Cal OES officials said because fires like the Ferguson fire and Carr Fire are popping up in places that really hadn't seen wildfires in many years, they want people to be prepared to evacuate and have a plan if that were to come to their area. Live from Cal OES, Ken Masenchi, Fox 40 News.
Good reminders there, Ken. Thanks so much. Now to an evacuation in Shasta County that required a lot of TLC. 6 babies were evacuated from a hospital in Reading. The babies were all being cared for in the neonatal intensive care unit, and they were taken to UC Davis Medical Center and other Sacramento area hospitals as a precaution, and UC Davis says those babies are doing well tonight. The Carr Fire has also prompted widespread evacuations, including what you see on your screen: Summit City, the community of French Gulch, the neighborhoods of Country Heights in West Reading, and the city of Shasta Lake. And for a full list of evacuations, go to fox40.com or download our Fox 40 News app.
And during times like this, it is our job to keep families alert and informed. And as the people of Reading were locked in to their local TV news stations for updates on this raging fire, one station actually had to stop broadcasting because they were told to evacuate.
Yeah, that moment was captured live on the air as the KRCR anchors signed off after 24 hours of straight coverage. Watch it.
You can get all the latest information on these fires on our Facebook page, on our website. We've been here live. And right now we're being evacuated. That's why we are kind of closing out right now. Yes. We are going to leave the station because it is now unsafe to be here.
startling moment for them. You can hear some panic in their voices, but still warning their viewers to stay safe there. And for 3 hours before this, the station was actually running on a backup generator last night because power was knocked out in the area.
Yeah, and the local newspaper in Reading, the Record Searchlight, was also faced with similar conditions last night as flames encroached on the town. Lights in the newsroom went dark. Reporters sent out tweets and continued to write for the morning paper, all by campfire lantern. True dedication to getting their readers and viewers every bit of information from authorities to keep people safe. And we were watching the tweets and all of the information coming in last night as well. Christina, you know this area well, and just seeing how close this was to town. I mean, you really feel for the people that are in this business trying to get that information out.
Well, yeah, and KRCR is not in a place that you would think would need to be evacuated, because in order to get to KRCR, you're going to go through a lot of businesses, a lot of homes, this is not a rural area where it's wide open spaces and you expect that to happen. So this was the middle of town. This is downtown Reading that was actually evacuated, and a lot of these homes and neighborhoods, of course, devastated, as we know. Here's a look at conditions right now. And you can see everything is still sort of burning off to the southeast. So everything's sort of heading off towards the west. That's been the trend today, which has alleviated some of the problems we were seeing last night with everything heading off towards Reading. We still are seeing hot conditions. Because of that, it's likely not going to stop. A red flag warning in effect until at least Monday morning. Yes, winds will likely increase, but it will likely be fire induced as opposed to what we're actually seeing in the atmosphere. Winds really haven't been too bad, but this fire seems to be creating its own winds. So here's a look at the actual fire, all that it has burned. And you can see, I'm going to zoom in here and show you Reading and also the city of Shasta here. So let me just explain real quick. All of these boxes here that you can see of orange, this is what has burned in the last 12 to 24 hours. So this is what was impacting Reading last night. All of these are neighborhoods. This is downtown, so this is a very serious situation. Today, winds actually started to face the other direction, moving off to the southeast and burning off, you can see, in a much more rural type situation. The concern, though, is that these winds are going to shift again tonight, and they will head right back towards the city. So in some of these places already devastated, we could see more neighborhoods impacted through tonight.
All right, Christina, thank you. And for more of our coverage of the Carr Fire, as well as a live blog that is continuously up